Ladies and gentlemen, I have not been able to log in until right now, so I want to check out the new Otherworld Battle season. We had a whole season reset, brand new effects, brand new debuff lists, plus the rewards from last season. Season 3 is now live, so let me go ahead and check this out for the very first time. So, congrats to the people that scored in the top 3. I got 30, 43, 45, Challenger rank 1. We got our seasonal and weekly rewards here. A lot of people have been speculating because the seasonal rewards include a special icon, which is the Sanctum Secured, which is Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum sort of icon that Doctor Strange and a magic update will be coming very, very soon, potentially the next update. People were also speculating that because, according to data mines, which you can take with a grain of salt, the character models for Doctor Strange, Wiccan, and Sister Grimm were changed, and those are all magic-based characters. You know, Sister Grimm being part of the Runaways show, and then like the whatever female Avengers update we had with She-Hulk way back, and then Wiccan, of course, being Scarlet Witch's son. So big time possibility here with the clues being left for us as far as the icons go. Remember that last season we got the Miles Morales icon, and then the Miles Morales update was the very next update, right? The into the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse. But that was pretty much a gimme because we knew that it was going to be the case because of the movie. Now, there's no debuffed characters this week, which is kind of disappointing. I'm also wondering if the rewards... Okay, well, not the rewards, but the battlefield effects. Let's go ahead and check out the battlefield effects. Female characters' basic damage dealt decreased by 500%. Wow. So they go straight for the misogyny. That's crazy. Wow. Superheroes' damage taken increased by 400%. Whoa. Hang on. Stop the music. Superheroes' damage, basic damage taken increased by 400%. And then healing ability characters' basic damage taken increased by 400%. Okay. Yeah. All right. So it's kind of stupid. So you basically can't use... I think you can still use female characters. I'm not going to lie. I think you can still use Jean Grey, even though she is a female character, obviously, because she's just that strong. I genuinely think you could still use Jean Grey. But for the healing, I'm pretty sure that's still Carnage. Yeah. So Carnage gets nerfed for a second month in a row. He was double nerfed last time. And then Wolverine gets nerfed now for a double nerf here. So you basically can't use Wolverine at all for the next 30 days. Because Wolverine gets hit on the healing. So his damage taken is basically increased by 800%. So he's going to get one-tapped by pretty much anything, I think. Anywho, I think. And heroes in general are not going to do very well because they're going to take so much damage. One thing, I don't mean to complain about these. I think they're interesting. But one thing I wish they would do with these is I wish they would add ones that are not negative, but rather positive. So we know that with the negative effects, they're trying to dissuade you from using these characters, right? So it's no coincidence that Carnage and Wolverine are being nerfed this way. No coincidence that female characters that are very dominant in the meta, i.e. Jean Grey, are also being nerfed, right? There's no coincidence. That's intentional. But rather than doing it that way, I wish that they would add, like, let's say 2 negative ones. So add the female one and add the superhero one. But then instead of adding the healing ability one, where it's a negative one for healing allies, which affects Wolverine, Gore, and Carnage primarily, it would be much cooler if they added a positive one that said, you know, blast type supervillains have 500% increased HP, or whatever, you know, 100% increased HP and 100% increased all defense. Because then instead you would have a situation where, okay, you want us to use blast villains, you don't want us to use heroes, so now we're going to build up Mephisto for PvP. We're going to build up Malekith. We're going to build up, you know, Mr. Sinister, because there are some PvP options here, right? We're going to build up even, heck, I don't know, maybe Red Skull. So there's a bit of an interesting thing here as far as giving a positive buff. I don't know how long it's going to take them to probably introduce positive buffs. I would say like 2-3 years. But in the meantime, we can definitely theorycraft with what we have given here. Now, we generally don't want to use superheroes because their damage taken is increased by 400%. We also don't want to use necessarily female characters because except for Jean Grey. Honestly, I do still want to try her at some point, because female characters in general are going to do way less damage, right? 500% less damage is a lot, and that basically you can't sort by male or female. Really? That's so weird, huh? But yeah, we generally want to look at villains, and we want to look at male villains. So that definitely puts a big check on Kang. It puts a big check on Thanos. Potentially, you could run Doom as well. So you have a lot of options here, especially in the universal villain category. Now, interestingly, because they've nerfed heroes, they've also nerfed Hela. Like indirectly, they nerfed Hela twice, technically. Once because she's going to deal less damage as a female character, but twice because with most teams not running a hero, you're not going to need Hela's passive that boosts damage to heroes. However, you could still consider building a team with a couple of villains and then just a shitload of supports. So that's another thing to consider, is the possibility of support. So you could run, for example, Valkyrie here to give a bunch of damage increase to villains, which again is important because we know if they're nerfing superheroes, most people are going to be moving over to villains. So having a bunch of villains on the team is going to make these passives even stronger. Now, of course, we know Valkyrie's not going to do any damage, and in general, most good supports, spoiler alert here, are female. So you could run something like this. Obviously, this doesn't have debuff immunity, so you probably want to bring back Wasp. But I also want to point out that you can bring back my favorite buff character for this situation, which is Morgan Le Fay, because she gives universal types debuff as well as attack, as well as some other stuff here. Now, this team might not be good enough. This team honestly might not cut it as is. But this is a sort of my first draft on a sort of team that you could build around that could look good. You could also build a very tanky team surrounding Hulk, because Hulk is not debuffed this week or this month at all. He may be debuffed next week for the debuff list, but for the time being, it is empty. And because he's not a female, a superhero, or a healing tag ally, you could build a team around him. Now, one tip I have for you is that you would want to bring in Colossus, but switch him over to his Phoenix Force uniform, because the buffs are the same. He literally doesn't have a difference in the number of the defensive buffs that he gives, but he now becomes a villain rather than a hero, so he won't be punished. So this is a really good shell of a team, and then you could build in some other options here to take advantage of, increased defenses and just not having a lot of checks and balances against you, because by and large, if you look at the blast category, right, the majority of very strong blast characters for PvP happen to be heroes. You have, of course, Blue Dragon, but then you also have Emma Frost, Ancient One, Adam Warlock. So all of these characters are going to have difficulty here because they're going to take 400% increased damage. Now, that's not going to stop them from still doing a lot of damage, which is why you still want to stack a combat-based team with a bunch of defensive layers like Colossus, like, other characters and things like that. But this is something to consider if you want to bring back Hulk, and if you've been waiting a long time to use him, because I know Hulk's been on the debuff lists for a while, and he's been nerfed for a while by the battlefield effects that target combat types and target durability allies. So this would be your opportunity to do so. It may still be difficult with the likes of Adam and things like that, and unfortunately, if you want a really good counter to Adam, most of them are either other Adams or other superheroes, which is not really going to work. And if we take a look in the speed category, there are basically none in the villain class, right? They're all in the hero class. In the hero class, they take more damage, and they're already the weakest class in terms of durability, so that makes it a little bit risky. You could play high risk, high reward with someone like Spider-Man, of course, because he has that Giga Dodge, but otherwise, you're kind of kicking rocks here. You could go way back with someone like Corvus with his Revive, and actually that's something that I might try this month, just because he hits a lot of the type advantage situations in which people are still going to run Adam, and then he's not nerfed by any of the effects there, whether it's healing allies or whether it's female or whether it's hero. Let me just double check that to make sure. Yeah, he's not. I was actually looking forward to using Mr. Sinister, but he is hit by the healing tag debuff. However, even with all the nerfs right now, it's absolutely possible that the best team is just going to be a meta cuck slave list of just the top 5 best characters minus, one or two here and there. It's absolutely possible that this team is still going to do insane amounts of damage and still be very powerful. And that is why we need the debuff list every single week. We can't have any dead weeks because it means that everyone goes back to playing meta cuck shit, and it's just boring as hell. Everybody using Jean Grey, Wolverine, Atom, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Atom, and you're just kind of being put to sleep by the meta. So yeah, those are my takes and my picks and my ideas for this month's Battlefield effects for Otherworld Battle Season 3. Hit me up in the comments down below and let me know what you think. Also, hit me up with what you think of the Sanctum Secured icon. I'm trying to collect it right now as we do our outro. I went to the wrong tab here. There we go. And then I think we can just go here, or is it in my inventory? It is in my inventory. Haha. So we're going to acquire this one there, and then we're going to go and we're going to equip it. There we go. Otherworld Battle Season... Come back. Otherworld Battle Season 2 reward. The Sanctum Secured. Is Doctor Strange Tier 4 coming soon? Thanks so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll hit you up in the next one. Take care.